Namaste and welcome. Today it is my pleasure to introduce to the Lokvani community Priya Samant. Priya Samant is well known in the New England area. She is a tech entrepreneur in the Web3 space with extensive knowledge in technology, policy making, and entertainment domain. She has created the concept of impact advising for cause and culture-based cinema with a credit title for the team. And this concept is gaining momentum in Indian cinema. The Kerala Story is the sixth film to have an impact advisor. And of course, Priya herself is serving as the impact advisor for the film. I know that in the past she has served as an impact advisor for many films, including the famous Kashmir Files. Welcome, Priya. It is such a pleasure to see you. And I hear the media now refers to you as India's daughter. So really, what an honor it is to have India's daughter. Bharat Mata is somebody we honor, and now we have the daughter as well, Priya in New England. Welcome, Priya. Pleasure to have you on Lokvani.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Ranjani ji. It's a true pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. My goodness. And you have taken on to be impact advisor for Kerala Story. It is causing quite the waves everywhere. So could you tell us a little bit about the story? And I know that it's going to be releasing even in New England this weekend. So where can people watch it?
Definitely. So the Kerala story is about, while the backdrop of film is Kerala and India, it's a global problem. It's the conversion of the girls. It's called as love jihad, and then recruiting them and taking them to Syria and other areas to serve for the ISIS. So that's basically what the story is about. And I won't want to give too much about it, because I want everyone to see this film, because this film is not about politics. It's not about religion. It is a global issue that, girls all around the world are facing, and they should watch and, to see and learn from it. So that's basically what it is. And the film releases in 251 screens, if I'm not mistaken. That's the recent data I got. And in the New England area, it releases in AMC Methuen, in AMC Boston, and at Apple Cinema in Cambridge. And I'm hosting a watch party with some of my girlfriends. So whoever is interested in joining is welcome to join.
Where would that watch party be?
Oh, at the Apple Cinema in Cambridge.
Fantastic. So that's somewhere we should kind of join in to understand more about the film. So very excited about that. I think you said it very rightly that, the problem of terrorism affects all communities. I mean,
Absolutely.
it is blind. It's, religion blind, region blind, all of that. And I know that, while ISIS is certainly an extremist organization that has adherents from the Islamic faith, they terrorize the people in the Muslim countries as well. So these
Absolutely.
terrorist organizations have affected, all women, not just, women from one country or one region. So it is really wonderful that you are taking on. So, I'd like to know a little bit about how extensive is this problem, and why do you think the great directors, Sudipto Sen and also the producer Vipul Shah actually chose to do a film on this?
So see, actually Sudipto Da actually was working on this, researching and doing work on this for past 7 years. Okay, and what happened in, I think in 2019 or before that, he actually made a documentary on this. So he met those girls, and he documented their stories. He met the families, and I think around the COVID time, and his documentary that he had made, I forgot the name, but it's something like Love Jihad. Actually, won a award at the London Film Festival. And then Vipulji, as we all know, is a very, very well-known producer director who has given such hit films to the Indian cinema. Namaste London, King Instant, but they were all commercial, films. Vipulji met him when Vipulji and Sudiptoda met each other. When Sudiptoda narrated the story, I mean, he was on board. And then, he not only came as a producer on the story, but also co-wrote the story with him.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because see, he believed in his vision so much that he came on it. And I am very fortunate to say that Vipulji had spoken to me about maybe month and a half back about this, and then after that I never heard from him, and then again 2.5 weeks before the release of May 5th, he called me when I was in LA and he was like, Priya, the movie is ready for release. And I was like, what can we do in this week and a half? The travel schedule, because the India release was on May 5th and the US 12th. But, as you said, where there is a will, there is a way.
Yeah.
And everything falls in place. And,
That's
rest is the
fantastic.
history.
That's really, so you are telling me that the problem is pretty extensive. So what do you think that the creators hope to accomplish by creating such a film, which is not to say the least controversial. Many people have a lot of things to say against it. So it takes a lot of courage to put something together like this. So yeah, would love to know from you, what is the impact you hope to accomplish?
So, see, terrorism has no religion, okay? And truth is always controversial. So when such films are made, I think it's given that those kind of issues are going to take place. With the impact, as I said, right, it's a global issue, right? It's happening in Kerala, it's happening in India, it's happening in Europe, it's happening in United States and all around the world, and it's also happening in the Muslim countries, right? So the goal is giving the voices to those families and victims who actually have faced this,
Yeah.
and giving them a voice to through the journey of Ada's character, to bring that to light, to tell people what happens or what one faces, and the trauma after the fact of if they come back to their families and what families go through. It's not easy, right? So doing that, and then creating ambassadors for this film, and again people who disagree with it, right? Don't be judgmental before watching the film. At least watch the film,
Yeah.
see what it has to offer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then kind of make your opinions about it, and then go. And I have heard, like, because we did about 8 events in a week and a half. Sudipta Da and Vipulji were saying that people who were initially bashing them in media and saying negative things about them, or about the film per se, not about them, but makers of the film, once they saw the film, came and apologized
Wow.
for what they did.
Yeah.
And that is what the beauty of it is. We have to create the awareness, because as you said, Kashmir Files was one film, Kerala Story is another film. These films are giving, either portraying or showcasing the current issue that is happening, or the giving voices to the communities that have faced this issue in the past. And that is such a powerful thing to do through the presence of through the lens of film.
Yeah.
So that is basically what we are trying to do.
Trying to do. Now that is really fantastic. And actually, I think one of the underlying themes of what I'm seeing, I haven't seen the film yet, and I look forward to seeing it. But it seems to be really that there needs to be. It's also talking about the disconnect between the parent and the child sometimes, right?
Yes.
I mean, as
Yes.
in, it may not be a terrorism issue, but which is what makes these people. What I'm understanding is, if they are not having a clear understanding of their own culture, whatever that culture be, be it
Right.
Christianity, be it Hinduism, whatever it is, then they are easily brainwashed. And then it creates sort of, do you want to tell me a little bit about that underlying theme, so.
Yes, so the underlying theme is not just terrorism, okay? As you rightly put, it's about, the disconnect between, the chemistry of a family, or, bringing that culture, or telling kids about their own roots.
Yeah.
Secondly, also highlighting, women, human rights issue, women's rights issue. There are so many different, issues that this film is bringing to light. And terrorism is, of course, very much important piece of it. But, these are all the, different shades of a human behavior that, through this film one will get to see.
Beautiful. And so now that I suspect you have seen it, so can you tell us, like, what advice would you have for people, who have children? We may not, obviously it may not be the Kerala story that we might encounter or live jihad, but there are other issues that might come up. And so what are your learnings that you may want to share with the New England community, as to what they may want to be cognizant of as they are raising children here?
See, we are one world, as I say. But what is very important is there are a lot of threats that, we are facing as a humanity. And it's extremely important that, for our communities, raising our children here, we should be very respectful about our own roots and culture and be very proud about it. And we should tell our children, and there are so many great organizations in our New England area that are trying to kind of bring those teachings forward. We should help and support those organizations. Ekal Vidyalay is one of them. Chinmaya Mission is another one of them. Even a great organization and like Hindi Manch on the artistic side, they are trying to do such great things, and so many. Setu is one of them. So we should kind of bring, our kids, we should educate ourselves, through all this, educational platforms, such as well as, art organizations, and support them, who can then help, kind of take our culture and other things forward.
Right. So at the end of the day, really make your children be proud, be rooted, be proud of their culture, and they can only be proud if they understand it. And I think that,
Absolutely.
and that's a very
Absolutely.
important point. Like you said, Hindi Manch is providing access to Hindi literature, and to know that,
Absolutely.
that is your, or if it is a Tamil Changam, whatever it is, there are a wide variety of organizations, as you very correctly pointed out. Knowing your language, knowing your culture, knowing your heritage, all of that will certainly go forward.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, what is impact advising? I don't know what that is. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So in 2019, I'll just, go rewind the tape a little bit. So in 2019, what happened is there was the Boston Film Festival here, that was hosting a film called Chalki. And the director of the film is National Award winner Brahmanand Singh. The movie was about human labor and child trafficking. And, the director of the festival had called me and he said, could you host, a great film from India is coming, and would you host the director and, for bringing his film here? I said, definitely. So the director and I could not meet at the day of the event because there was some miscommunication with our emails. But then, I called him and I congratulated for his film, and I gave him some pointers that, you should do this with your film, you should do that with your film, all that stuff. So he said, I want to meet you. So actually, I met him and I said, you know what? There is a huge gap that I have seen. See, I'm a creative person. I do theater here with Setu,
Yeah.
and so I said there is a huge gap in the Indian cinema that I have seen. On a strategic side, there should be a bridge that bridges the gap between the global audience as well as the vision of a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Then he said, why don't you join hands and help us out with this? I said, at the end of the day, I'm a business person.
Yeah.
So it's very important that whatever we do has a long term, is viable and is sustainable. It's beyond me, or it's beyond the one film.
Yeah.
It should be given something that is no, that can be adapted in Hindi cinema, Indian cinema, Hollywood, cinemas. I mean, cinemas around the world. And that is how I came up with the concept of impact advising for cause based and culture based narratives, where these narratives, be it Indian cinema or, I mean, independent cinema, sorry, be
Yeah.
it an independent cinema or a commercial cinema, which has a cause, narrative to be showcased to the world, or which has a culture based story that needs to come to highlight, needs to get that platform and visibility and a voice to bring it to the global audience.
Wow, wow. It's such a good idea, I think. And that's a fantastic thing what you're saying. And I think as part of impact advising, not only I think you give suggestions to them, but I have seen that you've been very involved in the PR and marketing in a very interesting way, right? You want to talk about that? I know you hosted 8 events, you said, around
Yes, absolutely. So they were all impact events only. And the goal is it was not only just, see, impact is not only about gathering of people or, bringing by doing events. It is what is the idea in action? What do we learn from it? So with every events that we hosted, with the first event for especially I'll tell with the Kerala story, we had one of the lawyers who actually works with the victims in Kerala.
wow.
Second, in the second event, we had the former Deputy Chief of Army, Government of India, who spoke from the national security standpoint. You know, third, we had the former IPS Kerala, who spoke about it. Fourth, we had the notable author, and we all know Mr. Rajiv Malhotraji, speak about it. The fifth one we had was Clifford Smith from the Middle East Forum, who spoke about it,
Wow.
the face of terrorism, from a global standpoint. And then we had Dr. Chungru, who is a Kashmiri Hindu who has seen terrorism very closely. So with bringing all these people together, we showed that this is not a propaganda, or this is not made up things. This is a reality,
Reality.
and don't judge anything before watching it. Take a look at it. And what the beauty is, one thing I would like to highlight here is the media takes it, some of the media outlets like to kind of give their opinions even before watching the movie.
Yeah.
There was like on a similar concept of radicalization. There was a movie made by a Swedish director, not I think in between 2019 to 2021 or 2022, and media kind of had showered so much love on that movie. And before when the Kerala story was about to be released, and people were like writing whatever came to their mind even before seeing, is the same thing that they are trying to show, but it was only placed in India in one state.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's the big problem right now. People are very divided and give opinions without using data, using facts, and I think that is the bane of the current time. So
See,
misinformation.
impact is all about matrix based on the narrative one is trying to. As I said, I'm a tech entrepreneur at the end
Yeah,
of the day. So I believe in data, I work with data, and I need to have the matrix. So it
yes,
is all about those elements that we put into it.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, we as one world are all about humanity.
yeah,
And that's the core of it.
yeah, yeah,
The core of impact is humanity, because see, I have done Jhalki, which was on human
yeah.
trafficking. I have done Gulmakai, which was on early life of Malala. Malala's faced
Oh,
terrorism as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
My
what you
third
said.
movie was My Home India, which talked about Polish refugees that came to India. My fourth was the movie Illegal, which was spoke about the issues of immigration. Fifth, Kashmir File, the exodus of Kashmiri Hindus, and sixth, the Kerala story.
Wow, that's really quite a large number of wonderful, impactful work that you have been involved in. No, I totally I love the fact that you're very data based, and the fact that all these people, for example, the IPS of police comes on to these things to talk about and supporting the work of the Kerala story, or the National Security Advisor talks to the fact that indeed this is all real and it needs to be addressed. So I'll just ask you about the Kashmir files. I know that when it came out, it was a very brave effort on part of Vivek Agnihotri ji to do, and I think he really opened the doors for others, to start that. So, what do you think has been the greatest impact of that movie in particular?
See, the greatest impact of that movie is the community got a voice after 32 years. Their story was heard. And,
That's
there's no bigger thing than that. After 32 years, when a community gets a voice, and the beauty of it is, when all the hardships and the atrocities that community went through, they always picked education, and that's very important.
Very important. Yes. Yes. No, that's true. And I think that was a very hopeful note that came out of that film, and that came out very strong. And that's why the Kashmiris Pandits are doing so well, because they just didn't allow the trauma to get to them. And in fact, it made them work harder. And I think many are
Absolutely.
very successful. And, it's been a really, wonderful watching that community grow outside of Kashmir. Unfortunately, they are cut off from their land, and nothing is worse than being away from your mother. I think that's a very, very traumatic thing. So now, are there other new films in in the horizon that you're thinking about, Priya?
Yes, that's the hope. The word is now out because a lot of commercial filmmakers have gotten me as an impact advisor, and the hope is that it grows and people understand the value of it and the necessity of it, because way the films are now getting made, especially after COVID, right? Lot of cause-based narratives, lot of issue-based films are
Yeah.
highlighted, and the filmmakers want to narrate that stories, and more and more. I mean, I got a lot of films after Kashmir Files, and actually the Kerala story is the one I picked, and then I have another as well, hopefully
Yeah.
being signed soon, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, more
Hoping
power.
hoping the journey is onwards and upwards.
It will, for sure. For talented people like you, I'm sure it's going to be onwards and upwards. I never asked you this, but maybe before we end the interview, how did you get so involved with films, and in what has been that journey? You're a tech entrepreneur, and where did the film connection come by?
So I grew up in a town called Goregaon in Mumbai, and in my town is where Film City is based.
Ah,
So, you say when you're from India, films and politics is part of your life. It's in your DNA. So it was, it's in my DNA, I can say. And I have done theater since I was a little child. I wanted to always, though I had, inklings on the technical side of the, stream.
yeah.
I was also very creative. I wanted at one point, actually, I wanted to pursue acting full time.
Ah,
But, as you say, life happens, and here I am. Your passion and your desire always comes finding you, no
yeah.
matter which stage of your life you are.
Wow.
And, it happened in a strategic way, but, I'm very happy that
I know that
it
that's
happened.
fantastic, Priya. Really, really wonderful to hear. How your life took on to becoming a impact advisor. I think that's a very significant work that you're doing, and God willing, all these stories will come to light. And the more people see it, at least solutions might emerge. We don't know what
Absolutely.
is the solution for radicalization and for terrorism, but maybe that with more minds focused on it, perhaps a good idea will come out and the world can be peaceful again. And that would be a go ahead. I think the thinking,
Absolutely. No,
yeah,
absolutely. You have put it so well that, films like that bring these issues to highlight. Even if we are able to save, one, two,
yeah,
10, the number should be high, and educate the girls, educate our community,
yeah,
we think the purpose is served.
absolutely. Well, more power to you. May you work on more cause-based films, and hopefully shed light on those things that need to be shed light on, and give voice to those that need a voice. Thank you so much, Priya, for your time. Namaste.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a true pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you.